1, 2, 3.
Eulogium for Jeff Rosoff. Bring back from the outgoing tide his body, alive, walking uphill from the Campanile, back to Bowles Hall, lean and purposeful, goateed in Mexican vest and jeans, 50 years ago. Yippee, curly hair, a bona fide freak in the freaky year of 1968. Blue meanies, ready to riot, lined up on Gailey Road below us. Weaponized as soldiers in Vietnam, dropping tear gas helicoptered on Lower Sproul Plaza, while we sprint suddenly between classes in Wheeler and Dwinelle to the refuge of Eshelman Hall. Time, I'm beseeching you, let us see Jeff in the flesh again, in a country for young men, throwing a frisbee on Hippie Hill, when the dead with Pigpen sang Morning Dew in Golden Gate Park. And we went to the Fillmore my first time, that first Thanksgiving break I spent away at his family home in San Mateo, and learned how to eat an artichoke before tragedy became your stock in trade, before you became so merciless and took his young wife and David's young mother so rudely away and left Jeff with a 3-year-old to raise alone. Freeze yourself for a minute, time, please. Dwell in that cool evening at Club Mike many years later, when Jeff saluted us with a shot of cheap whiskey from the bottle he brought, celebrating the prospect of David now on the cusp of manhood. In fact, our age when we all met. About to leave for McAllister, gleeful with a total ride as a fringe benefit of tenured professorship at Gustavus Adolphus. Stay another minute, for goodness sake, there with the gleam in his eye, that sly, satisfied smile beneath the mustache, savoring what he knew was a golden moment. Don't go away, time, stay, before you send it all so quickly down the hatch. Before you took him on a jet plane too fast, disembarking at home to the news his man-child, beloved David, was deep in coma, flung beltless out of the crashing car, asprawl off the road, amid teenage hijinks traveling across state lines for July 4th fireworks, and dead before you knew it. But not before you knew it, time, grave sage who stood watch at the mouth of the graveyard. You knew it all along. We felt so much older then. Make us younger than that now, time, starting with glugs from a jug of Red Mountain, passed around the dorm room, 702, if memory serves, with hits from a joint going in the other direction, but soon we hit the harder stuff. Acid trips on the mighty Hawk, when hallucinating we stared into the eye of eternity, a mystical grain of sand, the hairs on each other's arms, Lucy in the surreal sky with diamonds and exploding stars, revealing the mystery of the universe. Bring back that psychedelic heyday of Hallelujah the Pill and making love, not war, of a world unfolding into a bounteous future, of Telegraph Avenue and North Side, of top dog forays and hat functions, of panty raids at Stern Hall, all the talk, of Greek theater, bonfire rallies fueled by the chant, freshmen more wood, when we were those freshmen, while colleagues, the proverbial best minds of a generation, were carted off to the madhouse spewing Joycean streams of consciousness, or waving a knife, raving, hysterical, naked on the train tracks, or chanting Hare Krishna on a street corner, before we flew off in in all directions like sparks that flash before they flame out in the night, leaving Bowles an old castle on a hill, whose ghosts of those halcyon days haunt its hallways. And Jeff with his doctorate from Berkeley in hand, landing his first teaching gig in a college town with the unlikeliest name of Norman. Bring him back now, sitting at his kitchen table, chain drinking cups of coffee and smoking cigarettes, breaking down the jittering, complex question of nervous, twitching, jangled, jingled, tangled up existence to mathematical proofs. I think, therefore I am. Yes, bring back even those death sticks that you, time, proved would be the death of him. That jab to the mouth for intake, and thin-lipped, smoky, long sigh of relief in the exhale. Bring back his marathon swimming at Strawberry Canyon in recompense, his careful carpentry, his strumming of guitars built from scratch. Bring back the Renaissance man who flaunted his mortality to the fullest, called out Sweet Tomato to the passing girls, and after a beat in a W.C. Fields Rosoffian voice, out of their earshot but not ours, how about a slice? Retrieve, of course, that shit-eating grin you couldn't wipe from his face. Even you, time, with all your machinations. Before you ambulanced him to the Mayo Clinic, knocking on heaven's door with emergency heart surgery. Before Brother Doug, on his morning bicycle commute at an ordinary intersection in Ukiah, got slammed by a blind, blundering big rig, another predeceased. Before Jeff suddenly ceased breathing and became himself the predeceased for all of us, leaving a mother in Arizona doubled down in lamentation of another lost son to the morn, resting in peace. Bring back, most of all, Jeff's eruptive cackle at the world, at all of us, and most of all himself. That raucous, rat-a-tat, staccato, signature, ready laugh at his own French-accented Lucky Pierre jokes. That Bobo joke he liked to tell at my expense in Belimus. His whole series of sick Roberto Clemente jokes. Resurrect that legendary turd that floated up beside him as he basked in Bucks Lake, delighting in the endless summer sun. He'd call that rich, even pimp, for he lived through it all with irrepressible humor that resisted the slings and arrows of outrageous misfortune that you delivered, time, regular and certain as fate. And we loved him for both his cheers and his tears. Bring back the incoming tide, that holy goof sound of the buffoon. We demand at least an echo of his spirit. Pray bring us all back from loss and grief. Make our moments with each other not so brief. Carry Jeff back, body and soul, at least to a country for old men, where we can gather one last time and party happy as the birds who sang in the trees by Faculty Glade 50 spring quarters ago, when we sat on its hillside grass with coeds to woo, where the birds still sing and the young still woo, and will still so do 50 springs hence, forever carefree in their innocence. In memoriam for Jeff.